Well, Dr. Wale Ahmed joins us now. He's a member of the APC Publicity Committee in Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, yesterday, the PDP did accuse your party of colluding with INEC and having a meeting in Dubai concerning plans to rig the elections, even though your party had accused the PDP of colluding with planning with the military to use them for policing responsibilities and by extension maybe skew the results. So this accusation is going back and forth, but they also have one against your party. Is that correct?
It cannot be. The way I look at it is these are signs of extreme jitteriness, occasioned by fear of impending failure. The first one was the first one was querying the certificate of a man who retired as general in the Nigerian army and held field positions, command positions. He was a military administrator and other positions. Then he became head of state, the way they used to become head of state in his constituency, the military. So I mean, to start to bring up the issue of that person's certificate as an election issue, for me, is a sign of jitteriness. So all these other things about a meeting in Dubai, the certificate issue is in court. They will have to go and prove it. I've read the Constitution. I think it's a waste of time. This meeting in Dubai too, they will have to come up and prove it. It is disheartening that at a time when we are supposed to be convincing Nigerians that these are the things I have done. On the basis of having done this, I will do this, trust me. Like we are running in Lagos State. We are running on our performance in all aspects.
So do you think your party proved that the PDP were the ones that influenced the shift in the election date and not as a result of security concerns?
Let me, I'm in town and I move around, I relate with everybody. You will see the jubilant mood. You could feel it, even you that you are not a politician. They have been saying it even before it eventually happened. And they celebrated it in all quarters in PDP because they knew what would happen if it were to take place on February 14. That thing they feared will still happen because people have made up their minds. Nigerians are highly enlightened. Even people you may want to refer to as illiterate, maybe because they didn't, have this certificate or that. They are not daft. They have their own intelligence. So they can make a choice and ask themselves and answer the question, am I better off than I was 4 years ago?
So was it immaterial that over 20 million people had not collected their PVCs as at the time that INEC was ready to conduct elections? I mean, before the rescheduling.
There was a meeting and they asked the man in charge. And I was listening. I took my time, I made it a point of duty to listen to Mr. President yesterday, on the media chat live on NT. I did that because by my training, to watch somebody's facial expression and body language, you get more information from it than what you read if they have printed it in the newspaper. There was a meeting, and the man Jega said he was ready. Mr. President said on TV yesterday that INEC was independent, as we all know. He reaffirmed it. If INEC is actually independent, and you called him to a meeting of all heads of state, governors, and all that, and he said he was ready. Maybe he had his own plan.
But he also said something about the security situation in that same note while he briefed the National Council of States.
He said what was not under his control as INEC chairman was the security situation. But to conduct elections, the things he needed to do, he believed he was ready.
It is interesting that your party is willing to believe INEC hook, line, and sinker. That is in spite of what is happening even in the states that you govern, excuse me. For instance, in Lagos State, as at last week, we were still doing around 40% PVC collection rate. Distribution, collection, whichever one you decide to make it, you know, about 40% of the voting population had collected their PVC. In Imo State was the same. In Kano State it was the same. Kaduna, that started before the state, they said they had moved, you know, it had done far well. How come it was that the APC was willing to go along with INEC in spite of facts pointing to the contrary?
I don't know what facts are pointing to the contrary. That is the man in charge. He's a professor, he's a Nigerian, he has his name on the line, and the biggest guys in this country called him to a meeting. And he said unequivocally that he was ready. How he was going to do it, I don't know. We will not be, our party will not be in a position to start faulting him or doubting him. Okay, so after he said he was ready, then they brought in security issue. So if people are now saying maybe there is a collusion, is there not, I mean, such impression created?
Have you ever doubted INEC?
I have not had reason to do so for now.
In the 2011 elections, did your party raise objections to, you know, the results of the polls or not?
Yes, if you have a reason to do that.
In Ekiti, did your party raise objections to the results of the polls?
See, generally, if you have a reason to believe something didn't go right, the Ekiti you are talking about, right now there is a video, I mean, audio tape flying around that some people did some things in collusion with some general. So, at that time, immediately after the election, my party sat down and felt something was wrong. That is not about Professor Jega as a person, but something was wrong with the election. They have a right, that's why the courts are there. That is not, that cannot answer the question generally whether we trust INEC. That will be too big a generalization to make. But for now, on the issue of election,
that question is extremely important. The question of trust for INEC, because I mean, this election is about confidence.
If you trust
in whether
INEC,
or not,
if you trust INEC,
the electoral body can organize credible elections.
If you trust INEC, it does not mean on a particular election you have reasons to believe certain things did not go well. You will not go to court and raise issues about that. That doesn't have anything to... So if you trust INEC, any results that come out from the elections conducted by the INEC, people should just do like this and go and sit down. When you have reasons to believe certain extraordinary things took place.
That's the reason for me now. I'm asking, why is it that you're willing to believe, even in spite of the low collection of PVCs, even in the states that you govern? Because
he said he was ready, and
so his word was enough for you.
He will even extend the date to so date until he believes until that day, the new date, PVCs will be distributed.
Was that a wise idea?
And we have, I do not see why not. Honestly, I believe certain people have certain reason to twist Jega to postpone the election with some other extraneous reasons. And it is obvious, you know, the way they started celebrating.
The governor of the state, Lagos State, as at the time that public holiday was announced so that civil servants can go pick up their permanent voting cards, he had been quoted to have said, look, well, he hadn't gotten his.
Yeah.
And that, what was it again? He was not going to collect his until Lagosians have collected theirs.
To encourage people to do so, yes.
And elections were going to go ahead. So if elections had gone ahead on that day, he would not have voted.
Election was not supposed to go ahead on that day.
No, not that day.
It was supposed
as scheduled.
To be next tomorrow.
Yes, as scheduled. So there was the possibility.
That was last week.
Yeah, there was a possibility.
He eventually got his PVC.
No, what I'm saying is
so many other people
as at the time,
got their PVCs
because
after them.
He hadn't gotten his at that time. He was concerned.
Yes.
He was also concerned for Lagosians, saying, okay, well, he declared that holiday so that people can go out and get it?
Because we were told that they were now ready, is for people to go and collect.
So was it a genuine concern then that people had not collected?
No. Some were not ready before. Now, INEC told us PVCs were now ready. It was just for people to go and collect. It was on that basis we decided to give work-free day to encourage people to go and do so. Before, the problem was non-availability. They were not there. A lot of people will say they got there and their PVC. So now we got information that the PVC were now ready.
Yeah, but
so the issue will be for people to go and collect. And the guy also said it, that if the things are ready there, it's people who choose not to go and collect. That will not be his fault. You understand? So that was why we gave the work-free day and announced. I was on TV, Yoruba TV, Ogurolawa, campaigning to people to go and get this thing, because a lot of our people also connect to that channel.